Hey everyone, today's topic is unique in a way because I'm criticizing a political spectrum that includes me as well. Before everyone gets excited, before I removed a ton of my old videos, I used to make these videos of self-reflection, scrutinizing the positions I hold and explaining why I changed my mind, if I did. This isn't one of those channels with conservative figureheads pretending to be liberal, but all they ever talk about is how the left is losing their minds. Socially, I'm very left-leaning. I'm pro insert group of people here's rights. Don't go to weird places with that joke. However, not every position I hold is left-leaning because I'm economically conservative. A social democrat wants capitalism in some form, after all. I'm very sure socialists would disagree with my position here. It's a filthy, centrist position, I know. I don't see myself agreeing with communists because they usually have problematic views. Much like how there are right-leaning people who don't agree with the extremists on their side. The whole Trump thing left conservatives in an identity crisis. But I'm sure they'll have that sorted out by the next election season. So with that being said, this video isn't about the social, environmental, or economic policies generally held by left-wing people. This is about the optics and actions of certain members of the left that's detrimental to forming any kind of meaningful movement. I'd like to say this is just a phenomenon of the internet, but sometimes internet behavior manifests itself into the real world. I also want to say, don't take this video too seriously. None of the problems I mention here mean the left is going to implode and the right is going to take over. After mentioning the problems with the left, I'll try prying for understanding. I don't want this to be a typical video. Look at the SJWs, aren't they bad? Give me likes. I want to offer something with more depth.
No one cares about your stupid introduction. Just get to the...
With the disclaimers out of the way, I hope everyone understands my intentions with this video and hope to make the following problems less of a problem. This one is big. The purity spirals put so many people off. It's as if you have to agree with these people 100% and make sure you don't offend them in any way possible, or else you're a bigot. How can you get anything done when the people beside you are willing to throw you under the woke bus for any microaggression they perceive from you? I have a hard time talking to certain left-leaning people online because I worry I'm not left-leaning enough, and that might set them off somehow. It's happened before back when I was more active online. I want to emphasize that not everyone on the left are like this. I've had nice conversations, both online and in person, but online is more of a coin toss based on my experience. We're at a point where certain left-wing people have tried to cancel ContraPoints and Lindsay Ellis. You can agree or disagree with their works, but they hardly warrant being called transphobes and racist. This is just silly, and by the end of it all, it's just a hate mob.
Wait!
Now that all the bigots pretending to be leftists are gone, we can finally get to work.
If this continues, online discourse will continue to be a silly shouting match where the left eats itself and nothing of note gets done. Instead of coming up with new ways to call someone a bigot, how about we work on practical ways to make a change in the world, step by step? If you're not in a position to physically do so, then do what you can. What good does this short-term angst accomplish besides making people not want to approach you? As cringe as this sounds, giving a little positivity can go a long way, and you might even get some back in return. In the next part, I want to explore another problem I found in left-leaning circles. This one is a problem when it comes to potential allies. This doesn't mean accept everyone who says, "Hey, I used to be a racist last week, but I changed my mind, lol." Whoa, hold on. That's good, but I need you to think on it a second time and make sure. People who give reasons why they changed their minds, I have a better time believing them. This doesn't mean everyone has to write an essay on why they changed their minds, but at the very least, I'll check and see what they're doing or saying currently and let that speak for itself. People on the left need to stop pulling up problematic things people did 5 to 8 years ago to destroy their livelihood over. We're living in a faster world now. Several months is a big change to many people.
For your crime of saying homophobic slurs 4 years ago, I sentence you to banishment.
What? I was a teenager back then and I apologized twice.
It doesn't change the fact that you said it.
I know this isn't everyone on the left, but it's enough for it to be a problem. If no one is capable of changing their stances in your eyes, then your movement means nothing. No one is ever good enough. and so many people will be apprehensive about associating themselves with you. You have to acknowledge that people can change, otherwise, what's the point of bringing it up? Do you bring up people's problematic past to see if they still stand by it? I mean, with a calm delivery, I can get behind that, but oftentimes I see this being used to drag people. No redemption in mind. This person says something bad or associated with this bad person, so they must go down. I can't support that. Some members on the left also have this tendency to make sweeping, hateful generalizations on social media. For example, all men, all white people, or all cis people are evil. I get you could be frustrated with how certain people treat you, but this isn't a good look. People who'd be on the fence would see this lashing out as something to avoid. Why would a white man want to join a movement that will easily put him down in a heartbeat? Have some empathy here. There are ways to talk about privilege without attacking these people on a generalized level. It's human nature to see that rhetoric and get defensive about it. I want to quickly touch on this part because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. No, this doesn't justify using one extreme to go to the complete opposite end. This eagerness to gatekeep who can join your movement alienates people. It makes whatever it is you're advocating for that much harder to obtain. Think back to all of the positive changes in America. Not everyone agreed with one another, but they knew there was a problem. Solving that problem was more important to getting stalled on petty disagreements. Trying to understand these people, I've come to two possible explanations. The first explanation is this is a byproduct of outrage culture. The internet commodified outrage with social media engagement. If you make a post dragging someone over some moral offense you perceive and they get tons of likes, you feel rewarded. Then there are times when getting a ton of backlash for their failed hit piece make them feel justified. The people must be misogynist and racist. The latter could be chalked up to attention seeking, and this is something I've seen happen. All I can say for this explanation is that this is a fault of social media. It rewards outrage, and this isn't necessarily a left-wing problem. I'm sure you can point to many reactionaries from other parts of the political spectrum engaging in this same behavior.
Ow! You just went on a rant on how people slapping you was messed up.
It's only okay when I do it.
The other explanation was this could be a misguided attempt at validation. I've seen this behavior come from marginalized groups of people, and it makes sense why they will lash out against people who they think invalidate them in some way, whether it be their identity or their cause. Maybe after dealing with having to keep quiet about their identities in their daily life, they get fed up and use social media as a way to vent. The reasons why they get to this point is pure conjecture, and the only ones who know are the ones doing it themselves. While I can sympathize with ones who confront bigotry and ignorance, this comes off as immature. There's no justification for dragging reasonable people down, and no matter what, you end up looking like a bad person. Just content fodder for whatever reactionary channel sees you. The reason why all of this is such a weakness for the left is because it's not good optics, and there are plenty of times when this behavior is used to attack other left-leaning people for trivial disagreements. The only way there could be real cohesive left-wing movement in this climate is if we draw the line. It's okay to have diversity in thoughts, but this behavior shouldn't be tolerated. It doesn't mean your identity is invalid or your desire for a better world means nothing, but it does mean there are better ways to get your point across.
So, we can't get this bigot fired?
No, all he did was disagree with you. Let him go. So, what now? Honestly, none of these problems are going to go away anytime soon, and most likely I'm just preaching to the choir. If I have to give an answer to what now, it would be to use the internet as a tool to mobilize like-minded individuals. If you're serious about activism, this is a great way to reach people faster than you could ever do in person. I'm not sure how many left-wing people this video applies to made it this far, but I implore you to seek healthier ways to get your point across. There could be a group of people watching who'd want me to talk about how well left-wing people know about the policies they claim to advocate for. For example, you could find a socialist who's ignorant of economics. There's no good way to go about that without coming off as biased. No matter which political ideology you point to, you're going to find those who don't know as much as they should, but probably claim the ideology for some third-party reason. I didn't think it would be a good idea to poke fun at left-wing people for that, knowing that the problem is shared with other political ideologies. I understand there's a difference between the online crowd and real activism, and there's a good chance that the people referred to in this video remain, at least, mostly online with their politics, which could also explain their behavior. There's nothing wrong with talking politics online. I mean, I do that myself. I do vote every election season to be involved in the process somehow. The reason why I bring this up is, when you step out of your online isolated bubble and interact with people who may not agree with you, it gives you a better understanding of the people around you. Trust me, talking with people in person is not always pretty, but there are times when it is. This doesn't mean tolerate bigots' attitudes towards you. Draw the line when things get egregious, of course. I mean, you know this. I don't have to say that. So yeah, it's okay to talk politics online, but realize that an echo chamber could warp your perception of people around you. For those this video don't apply to, keep doing what you're doing. If there's anything to take from this, don't take internet political fights so seriously, and stick to the real issues, not the pop feminist issues that many people attack BuzzFeed over at some point. Do things that make you happy, and as addicting as it is, leave the outrage and negativity alone. The media thrives on making you angry, don't feed them. Sure, be aware, know what's going on whether good or bad, but don't overindulge. Our mental well-being is important after all. Feel free to share your opinions below. Do you agree, disagree, or think I'm part of the problem? Let's discuss it. If you want to keep the channel going or fund my upcoming series, you can become a patron. The link is below and any amount is greatly appreciated. Anyways, I gotta go. Be nice to one another and take care of yourselves.